The last couple of days have been tougher than a cheap pork steak grilled by a drunk in his yard over a burnout oil drum. What started as a simple suicide led to me getting on the wrong side of the city's biggest crime boss by investigating him for murder, ignoring his warnings to back off, winning big at his casino and rubbing his nose in it, escaping his goon death squad, breaking into his home, stealing his stuff, and running away with his top-drawer nightclub attraction in the form of Veronica Starr, red-headed bombshell and erstwhile murderess. All of which had led me to flee to the last place anyone would look for me. Though that means someone's gonna look eventually. Hiding out at a murder scene with a murderer wasn't on my bucket list, but sometimes you gotta throw out the ice bucket and drink warm champagne. I woke with a start, rubbing away a slight crick in my neck from where I'd fallen asleep awkwardly in the chair. I tipped the dregs from last night's whiskey bottle into a slightly sticky tumbler and downed breakfast as my PI brain sorted through the events of the previous evening. I walked toward the bedroom to check on Veronica. Opening the door slowly, I hesitantly peered in. I didn't want to catch a lady unawares, but having already sold me the goods, I didn't think she'd object to a little window shopping. Miss Starr? Damn it, the bed was empty, the window was open, and Veronica was gone. I moved to the window and peered out at the dawn. It was still early. There was no obvious signs that anything was amiss. The bed was neatly made, and Fatso's goons couldn't be quiet if you cut out their tongues, made them wear padded shoes, and told them the quietest would get ice cream. On the bedside table was a folded piece of paper. A note from Veronica.
Wiggles, I never thought my life would lead up to the last few days. Show business, murder, and being on the run with a private investigator from my gangster boss. Sounds like something from a bad movie. I'm sorry I got you involved in all this. I can't make Fatso leave you alone, but I can make it easier for you to protect yourself by not having to protect me. I have a little money saved, so don't worry about me. It's not the first time I've moved to a new city and become somebody else. If that young girl could see me now, she'd be, well, probably disappointed. But she'd have been glad to have met you. After we spoke last night, I realized I couldn't let poor Mrs. Jensen live out her life thinking her husband had committed suicide. It's not fair. She doesn't deserve that, so I've written a full confession. Please give me a few days head start so I can get to where I'm going. Then show this to the police. Take care of yourself, Wiggles. Underneath that gruff PI bluster, I'm sure there's someone decent and caring trying to get out. Maybe we'll see each other again in the next life. My love, Veronica.
Underneath the note, as promised, there was a confession of the murder of Hank Jensen. Her naivety was misplaced and dangerous. If I didn't get to her in time, she'd never make it out of the city alive. I walked into the living room and saw a black Buick pulling into the gravel driveway. I ran out of the house toward the car with a vain hope it was Veronica, but the vehicle was empty. Goddamn, you're predictable, Wiggles. You never bother to check behind you before running into trouble. Get your hands in the air. Brick. Not that predictable. Took you long enough to find me. Huh. We searched your office, turned that sad little Joe's bar place you practically live in upside down, and squeezed your snitches for information. Hell, I even put the screws on Stannon, and none of them gave me what I wanted. Oh, but they sang like canaries. Anything to stop the pain. Been a busy boy, ain't ya? But their cheap words gave me nothing. Even you're not dumb enough to tell your no-name hoods where you'd taken the broad. So I use my cop's instinct, figuring murdering cockroaches always return to the scene of the crime. Finally sick of pretending to be a cop with your finger in the crime pie and gone full henchman, Brick? Fatso's so sick of the legal system failing to catch and convict an honest man, shut your damn mouth. By the time Fatso is finished with you and the broad, you'll be begging me to put an end to your miserable little life. Now call out the dame, and don't do anything stupid. I can, or won't. Choose one. Don't get cute. She ain't here. She left last night. Seems your crack cop's instinct is late to the party. As usual. Don't lie to me. You call her out right now, or I'm gonna start shooting some sensitive areas. You know, I don't think I have any sensitive areas left. You know what? I believe you. But let's see anyway. Looks like you need time at the range. Hiding behind things was always your style, wasn't it, Wiggles? Duty, booze, women, and now, my car. It's a nice car. It'd be a shame to riddle it with bullet holes. Don't prolong the inevitable, Wiggles. You've pissed off the biggest gangster in Los Angeles history. Fatso's the de facto king of this town, and you've been summoned for execution. You ain't making it out of this one, and neither is your little girlfriend. It's one betrayal too far. You think I'm dumb enough to leave guns in an unlocked trunk? No. Ugh. But I think you're dumb enough to get hit in the face with a tire iron. Sorry, Brick. Seems my keys scratched your lovely paintwork diving over the hood, just as my fists are gonna scratch your ugly mug. Ugh. You won't need that. My gun. Ah, my eyes! Throwing gravel's a damn dirty trick. Get back here. I'm not finished with you. You'll regret this, Wiggles. I'll make sure you do. Damn it. I revved Hank Jensen's coupe like a racing car and set off like a greyhound with his tail on fire. LA streets at night are usually full of drunks, lowlives, and neon. At this time in the morning, the drunks have rolled home, the lowlives have had their fill, and the neon is all but burned out. By the time I made it to Inglewood, the sun was starting to crack over the edge of the world, shining its mocking fire straight into my eyeline. Without an exact address, I drove up and down the streets aimlessly, hoping to catch a glimpse of red hair or the twinkle of a sequined evening gown. It was hopeless. I had no idea where Veronica might be. Until it hit me. I sped towards Santa Monica, leaving the coupe in the lot at the end of the pier. I ran past the coffee shops and amusements, all waiting to open up for the morning influx of happy, smiling customers. And there she was, right at the point where the ocean meets the land, staring out at the horizon. I slowed to a walk. The tightness in my gut slackening off. The tightness in my chest lingering with a threatening stabbing pain before retreating for another day. She turned and saw me walking slowly toward her. She flashed me a smile of sadness, which quickly turned to anguish as a black Buick came speeding behind me on the wooden decking, smashing through several carts, chairs, and stands. I threw myself to the left just in time. Dazed, I picked myself up and turned to see Veronica being dragged through the rear window of the car, screaming.
Was that a gun?
What was that?
Oh my god.
Someone call the police.
I stared numbly as the starlet fell down onto the back seat of the Buick. Her dreams, gone. I pulled out Brick's gun and started to run toward that black specter of death, but it reversed towards me, and I had to throw myself to the ground once more. I lifted my head up as the car turned quickly, mocking my efforts to get to my feet with a roaring laugh from its straight-eight engine. And then they were gone. She was gone. Veronica was gone. I opened the door to my office. No Veronica. That was just wishful thinking. The thought of her made my heart tighten like a grievance. Maybe that was guilt for not doing more. I should have done something. A lump grew in my throat from all the things I could have done if I only had that chance again. I can go see Jack in the morgue for some release on a two-bit thug in one of his freezers later. As for now, I had a clear plan of what needed to be done. Clean up, drink up, tool up, and then take this fight to Fatso's front door with all guns blazing. Raise his empire and all the bad he's done in this town to ash, rubble, and a distant memory. I cleaned myself up in the small sink. Bathed my eyes best I could, getting the last bits of gravel and dust out. Then washed down a few aspirin and bandaged my chest up. I'd laid down a pretty firm beating on Brick, but he got in a few punches on my rib before escaping. And I think he broke one, damn it. I got dressed again and headed back into the office area. Filling the pockets of my Mac with bullets, I sat down and took a pull from my lucky number 7. Some of the good stuff. My throat tightened again. God damn you, Fatso. Damn you all. Another swig and I fell in a manageable numbness. I must have fallen asleep because something made me wake up. Seems that booze and aspirin ain't such good bedfellows. I peeled my face off my desk's leather inlay and sat up. Jesus, Ted, you scared the hell out of me.
I knocked and everything. Fancied I should let myself in. You okay, Wiggles? You don't look so hot.
Bricks kidnapped Veronica. Shot her in the car while they were driving off. They did it right in front of me, Ted.
Brick? Did you see his face?
No, but it was his black Buick. I'd recognize it anywhere. I was using it earlier this morning as a bulletproof vest.
Ah, geez, Wiggles. I'll ring the station. Get him put a lookout for her.
No, don't bother. I know she's dead. Fatso's cleaning house. Brick already tried to take me out again this morning.
Wiggles, you should know we've been investigating Brick for corruption. We've had our eye on him for a while. I haven't seen him since yesterday evening. He gave me a working over trying to find you. But I didn't give you up. Mainly because I didn't know where you were. So he left. Real angry, too.
I've got to go.
Where you going, Wiggles?
I'm off to Fatso's. I'm gonna kill that son of a bitch.
You need a ride?
What? Whoa, no. No, Ted, you can't get caught up in what I'm doing. I'm amazed I even told you that. Note to self, no more aspirin with booze.
Ha! I'm glad you did. You're gonna need some backup. I'm sick of Fatso running around and treating this city like his own private playground. Something needs to be done. Off the books. Unofficial. Because official ain't getting us nowhere.
You sure you're in, Ted?
Hell yeah. Let's get this done. Neither of us are particularly talkative, huh? You check that revolver any more times, Wiggles, it's gonna fall apart.
Something like that.
You got everything you need, partner?
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Got my gun and Mama's parting gift, my knuckle duster.
Okay, I'll drop you off around the back, but keep your head down until I stop. Don't want anyone seeing us together. I suggest you go in the back door.
Thanks, Ted. I don't know how... You don't know what this means to me.
It's okay, partner. I'll give you 10. If you're not out by then, I'll just count another 5.
I creep quietly to the rear of Fatso's club. I don't need him spotting me from his view of the Diva Strip. I need to get up to his office as quickly and as quietly as possible. But let's face it, the chances of me not getting shot at are 0 to none. I spot one of the dancing dames out back smoking a final cigarette before heading home. The door cracked open. It's the broad who passed me Veronica's note. I approach with my usual nonchalance, cutting her off before she asks me what I'm doing hanging around the back in the early hours of the morning. Any more of you in there? She shook her head slowly. I suggest you get out of here now. Don't argue. Just go. She scanned my face in the dim light, took another drag of her cigarette and walked off into the alley with a cold understanding. I opened the door and quietly slip in. There's a short corridor festooned with photographs of showgirls past and present. Veronica's eye catches mine, punching me in the guts as I hurry past. I go through a door leading out onto the back stage in an empty dressing room. I catch the reflection of a grim visage lit by a border of dimming bulbs. Hard-looking, set on a dirty job. I gave myself a wink as I adjusted my hat and continued out past black curtains into the main area of the club. I keep to the wall, walking slowly forward. There's a large guy at the bar being served by my regular barman who's cleaning a glass with a cloth. They were deep in conversation and hadn't spotted me just yet. The barman let out a laugh as he turned and stepped out into a back room. I took my chance and approached the guy from behind as he downed a whiskey, tossing a dollar bill onto the counter. Hey, you dropped something. What? I caught the guy as he fell, lowering him to the ground. I dragged him round the side of the bar out of sight, ducking down as the barman came out hearing the noise.
Hey, Chuck. Huh. Catch you tomorrow, pal.
Knowing how much the guy weighed, I wouldn't recommend it. The barman lifted the hatch and walked out wearing a 10 Mac. Another one out of the way. I make my way behind the bar, picking up a glass, and help myself to a slug of the good stuff from the top shelf. Then I pour myself another. Heading off, Dan? Damn. I turn around slowly and lock eye with Marbles, the one-eyed goon who'd escorted me to Fatso's office on my previous visit. His realization is cut short as I throw my double-double straight into his one good eye. Holding my gun in my right hand, I crouch down underneath the bar's lift-up hatch, slipping the cold brass over the knuckles of my left and give Marbles a full left power uppercut with Mama's parting gift to his balls. I feel something give. Probably his soul. He recovers much quicker than I expect. He takes a swing and knocks the gun from my hand. He swings again. I block and punch him in the throat. Never the face. Go for the soft parts. Throat, just below the sternum, the kidneys, the balls. Easier on the knuckles. He staggers back, clutching his throat with one hand, grabbing a bottle of whiskey from the bar with the other, and clocks me with a glancing blow. My vision shifts for a split second. I step back and he follows up with a blow to my broken rib. Lightning shoots through my left side. Marbles is clearly trying to shout for help through his crushed larynx to no effect. I sidestep, twist, and punch him in the ribs. I feel a few things crack. He falls to the ground in pain. I step sideways, picking my gun up off the floor. I think there might be one in here for you, Marbles. You on this in the other eye? Even you up?
Oh, fuck.
The butt of the gun does its job and Marbles collapses. Picking a discarded bread knife from a nearby table, I surgically lever the prosthetic eye from the lackey's right orbit, like freeing an ice cube from a tray, dropping it into my pocket as a souvenir. At that moment, wood explodes from the bar behind me. Looks like I've been spotted. 2 goons up top.
He's over there. You get him? Oh, he's running.
I throw myself over a velvet rope like an Olympic hurdler taking the last barrier of a race and rush up the mezzanine steps to the VIP lounge, firing my gun in the direction of the goons, ready for round 2. At the top of the stairs, I dive left, pushing a table over to use for cover. I risk a look over the table. In front of me to the right is the VIP champagne bar alongside comfortable-looking booths. One table filled with a raft of empty glasses and beer bottles. The big man's boys enjoying an end-of-shift nightcap or 7. Good. That will make them sloppy. At the end of the floor is a heavy door leading to Fatso's office. 3 goons blocking the way. They start to push forward. 3 to 1? Yeah, I'll take those odds.
Why don't you just die?
Death doesn't suit me. You, on the other hand... He moves before I put one in the wood paneling. I duck over to another table closer to the goons and Fatso's door. Daring a glance round the table, I feel the air pressure change as a bullet whizzes past my ear. Damn, that was a close one. I look again and see 2 of the goons hide using a series of leather-studded partitions for cover. One peeks round. He's lucky. That was a flesh wound. But a big one. 2 goons start to run over to the booths overlooking the stage.
My knee.
Out of bullets. Should have kept count. I pick up the table and run at the last goon, pushing him over the mezzanine rail to fall onto the hard wooden floor below. I head towards Fatso's office door. The bleeding goons don't put up any resistance as I throw their weapons over the edge of the mezzanine to join their indisposed associate. I take my time and reload my gun. Confident at this point, I kick open the door to Fatso's office. The man himself stood behind his oppressive desk with his back to me, staring out of the window whilst lighting one of his ridiculous, ginormous cigars. Don't move, Fatso. I cry out in pain as Frank's gorilla hands crush my fingers, my gun dropping to the floor. You should have checked the doors, you dumb, predictable schmuck. Damn. Doors and corners. They get me every time. This is why you were a bad cop and an even worse PI. Brick, you son of a... Oh, shut up. Sit down and stay down. Or what? Your gorilla here will hold me in place? I don't need him shedding his hand hair under my nice coat.
Shut up.
Say, Fatso, any chance that expensive-looking gun on your desk is another specialist imported cigar accessory? Fatso turned, placing his lighter on the desk, knocking his cigar end into an ornate marble ashtray.
Do you know how to run a successful business, Mr. Wiggles? No, of course you don't. Your business is other people's business, and that business is a dog's business. The secret, of course, is to care, to take pride in your work, your acquaintances, your personal appearance. Appearing in the right way to the right people is very important, and I feel this is where I went wrong with you, Mr. Wiggles. I might not respect your line of work, but I thought you were a reasonable man who would respond in a reasonable manner to my requests. I was wrong. You insult me in my own club. You break into my home. You stick your nose into my personal affairs. And you kill my loyal men, my friends. So now, instead of the benevolent businessman, I must appear to you as the head of a large criminal empire. Your petty investigation has been quite annoying, but nothing that cannot be rectified with a few quiet words to my associates. Normally, I'd have Brick here take you out back and shoot you in an alley, but that would deny me the pleasure of taking revenge on the man who stole my star away from me. Of all my girls, she was my favorite. Veronica and I connected like family, and she almost threw it away for some schlup she pitted on the card table. All I wanted to see was whether Veronica was loyal, and she was, right up until she wasn't.
You bastard.
Now, Brick. Let us give Mr. Wiggles the opportunity to speak. After all, we wouldn't want him going to his grave with unfinished business. Last thing I need in my office is a poltergeist moving my cigar collection around. We can't have the Robustos mixed in with the Bellicosos now, can we?
You won't get away with any of this. If anything happens to me, I've made sure a little package will make its way to the police, connecting you directly with Hank Jensen's murder.
Oh, really?
Do you mean this? The bag. Oh, yeah. Did I forget to mention when I interviewed your good buddy Joe, he gave me this to make it stop, to make the pain stop.
Thank you, Brick. Wow. That's a real good cleanup job. It almost looks brand new. Not even a smudge. Except where you just picked it up, of course. If the police were to look at it now, it would look as if you were involved, Brick. Frank, would you mind?
Oh, why? That was all I needed. I jumped up, hurling the chair towards Gorilla Hands. As he moved his arms to protect himself, I crouched down, pulling Brick's gun from his dead grasp, and with a turn, I took out the gorilla, which gave Fatso just enough time to pick up a gun from his desk.
Goodbye, Mr. Wiggles.
You're packing heat, Fatso, but I'm packing lead. I hit him several times in the chest. As he slumped to the ground, the flame from his replica pistol, still in his hand, lapped at the expensive silk curtains, the cold fury in his eyes turning to fear and surprise. Still pointing my revolver at Fatso, I walk over and pocket the ornate weapon that sat unused on the large desk. Nice. I moved to Fatso's Japanese humidor, picking up one of the priceless cigars. Taking my time, I snipped off the end with a gold-plated cigar cutter, which also found its way into my pocket, and walked back towards LA's kingpin of crime. The curtains had taken the bait, and a nice warm glow lit Fatso's sweating hulk like a pig at a cook-off. Lighting the cigar off the curtains, I took in a lungful of Cuba's finest tobacco and blew it into Fatso's face. So long, Fatso. He gave me one last defiant look before succumbing to the lead in his belly. I stood there smoking for a full minute, watching the flames pick up pace before flicking the still-lit cigar on a Fatso's body. Okay, time to leave. I headed to the rear door. Locked. Damn it. I looked back to the door leading to the mezzanine, which was now engulfed in flames. I ran over to Gorilla Hands and started rifling through his pockets. Nothing. The fire had taken over and thick black smoke filled the air. I moved over to Brick's lifeless form, struggling to move the dead weight to reach more pockets, but I didn't have the strength. The smoke stung my eyes and sweat soaked my tattered shirt as the heat became unbearable. This was it. I'd followed the grizzly into its cave, and I wasn't coming back out.
Wiggles! Wiggles! Jesus. Brick. Wiggles, what did you do?
What I had to.
Take my hand. Come on. We need to get out of here before the whole place burns down. Can you walk?
I'll damn well walk out of here. I didn't think breaking and entering was your style, Ted.
Smoke streaming out the roof of a building gives me legal cause to enter. Which you knew when you lit the damn fire.
Yeah, of course I did. Check out these gatecrashers, who you invited when you called us in, obviously. Ted, Wiggles, get over here now. Where the hell is Brick? Probably bending over a jagged rock, expecting trouble from a pitchfork or two.
I've completed my investigation, Captain. Brick was dirtier than the tar pits.
Goddamn tar pits.
It was Brick who killed the tramp we found. He's also responsible for the disappearance of Veronica Starr. But I have no doubt that he committed the murder of Hank Jensen, then instigated a cover-up of the whole thing. All of it orchestrated by Alfonso Fatso Jabroni.
Holy mother. Unfortunately, all the evidence just went up in Fatso's office. Of course it did. Dirty cops, corrupt businessmen, murdered singers. If people knew this, they'd lose all trust in the police. They'd have to find it first. Look, it's obvious what you do. A week or so later, I sat in my office chair, staring out the grimy window, nursing my still-aching wounds with a distinctly Irish mug of Joe. The headlines on the newspapers strewn all over my battered desk said it all. Hero cop sacrifice saves city from corrupt crime kingpin. Now everyone knows how Brick went undercover to gather evidence against Fatso Jabroni, who murdered him in a fit of pique when he found out, before burning down his own club to hide the evidence. Nice story. Plenty of unsolved murders were pinned on Fatso and his gang, who conveniently were no longer around to offer any kind of defense. Very neat and tidy for the boys in blue. A posthumous award for Brick, and a promotion to lieutenant for Ted for all his work on the case. I was happy for him. Couldn't have gone to a more stand-up guy. Plus, it always helps having an inside man. I sipped my coffee and waited for the phone to ring. I hadn't spoken to the blonde for a while, and now that Fatso had officially murdered Hank Jensen, I was looking forward to my 10%. I turned around and saw the blonde's sister walking towards me.
I take it you're Mr. Wiggles?
Ms. Ripley?
Don't get up, will ya?
Okay.
Here's a letter from Mrs. Jensen. I've already read it. Your fee is enclosed. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to the wrong man. It should be going to that hero policeman's family who found the real killer of Mary's husband, not some lowlife. Where were you in all of this, huh?
Don't believe all you read in the papers, Miss Ripley.
Oh, you would say that, wouldn't you? Anything to save face and justify your fee for the bare amount of work you've done. It says P.I. on your door, but it's missing a G.
Uh-huh. Just pull the door on your way out. Okay. I opened the envelope she'd thrown down on my desk. Along with a check, there was a handwritten letter from Mrs. Jensen written on headed notepaper. Apparently, she was vacationing in Mexico. El Hotelo. Oh yeah, that's where Mary and her husband honeymooned. I read the brief note thanking me for my services and tossed it back on the desk. But something tickled at the back of my brain. Wait a minute. I rummaged through my Mac pockets. Then the paperwork on my desk. Then the file cabinet. There it was. Mexico, eh? Well, I don't see any jobs on the horizon, so a short trip might be nice. So here I am, talking to you, Jose, in the bar of this here fancy hotel. All that's happened to me got me sat right here, right now. All true.
Si, senor. You tell me this story lots of times, but I no care. I'm just a barman. I still haven't seen her. You want top up? More whiskey?
Yeah, top me up, Jose, and put it on the tab.
Ha ha! You have no tab, Senor Wiggles. You fooled me 4 times, but not 5.
Yeah, well, worth a try. I'd been in this bar for the last 4 days. Best 4 days I've had for a while. I call it an ABC vacation. Alcohol, booze, and cigarettes. A ratio of 2 to 1, just how I like it. I left the bar, lit a cigarette off the remains of my previous cigarette, and took a table with my whiskey for one, and waited. My daydreaming was broken when a blonde woman walked into the bar dressed in an elegant, long, flowing white lace dress, large white floppy sun hat, and sunglasses so dark even her mother wouldn't recognize her. She looked straight at me, and with a forefinger slid her sunglasses down her nose a little. There stood looking at me was Mary Jensen, looking radiant, confident, and reminding me of someone else entirely.
Mr. Wiggles, I wondered if you'd show up.
I deliver a first-class personal service. Wanted to thank you in person for the check covering my fee.
But that's not it, is it, Mr. Wiggles?
No, it's not, Mrs. Jensen. I reach into my pocket and pull out a murder confession. Or should I call you Veronica?
Clever boy, but Mrs. Jensen's just fine. Jose, the usual, please.
Si, senor.
And put it on my tab.
You have no tab, Senor Wiggles.
I appreciate the gesture, but I can look after myself.
Yeah, I know you can.
Now, Mr. Wiggles. No hard feelings. We were both in a spot, and we helped each other.
So why do I feel like a pawn? I thought that you, no Veronica, were dead.
Your drink, Mrs. Jensen, with an extra cherry.
Why, thank you, Jose. Everyone deserves a second chance at getting what they deserve. As for Veronica, I'm sorry for that, but it helped us both get what we wanted. Fatso's dead, and we both got paid.
And you get away with murdering your husband. Did you enjoy that? Got bored, huh? Got a plan? Got a gun? Got rich?
Now you hold on a minute. I loved my husband. It wasn't the best of marriages. Hank had his problems, but we made it work as best we could.
You mean you got bored of him going out every night, leaving you on your own while he blew what little you had at the card table?
He worked all day and went out most nights. My sister didn't appreciate me visiting so often.
So you bought a new dress, a wig, and took some singing lessons?
Oh, I could always sing, Mr. Wiggles. Performing was my dream. But I fell in love and got married, and married women don't do that kind of thing. Mrs. Mary Jensen would never be a famous singer, but Veronica Starr was a bombshell. Fatso ordered me to show him total loyalty, and the worst punishment for me for helping Hank win at the blackjack table. Brick drove me to my own home to kill Hank and get the money back he'd won. Fatso didn't know Hank was my husband. He thought he was just some chump I'd fallen for, but Hank was already dead. He'd slipped drunk showering and hit his head. So I did what anyone in that situation would do. I made it work for me.
Wow, what a dame.
Oh, don't give that holier-than-thou attitude. I heard what you did in that nightclub.
Yeah, well, we've all got our specialist skills, Miss Starr.
Veronica's dead. She died in the back of my sister's Buick.
Huh, right. Your sister's Buick. So that's it? Off into the sunset?
You're damn right. I sold the house and the belongings. The car wasn't there, though. Do you know anything about that?
Can't say I do. I came here by train.
Well, enjoy your money, Mr. Wiggles. I know I will. Now, if you'll please excuse me.
So long, Blondie. Greedy girl. 2 bites of the cherry.
You've just been listening to Wiggles P.I. in 2 Bites of the Cherry. Starring the voices of Dale Brett, Alan Carmichael, Ivy D, and Niklaus Feel. You can find Ivy D at voiceacting.love-takes-work.com. To find out more about Wiggles P.I., head over to noircastmedia.com. Hey there, it's Joe here from Joe's Bar. Let's finish on one of Fatso's signature cocktails. You doity red? Take a chilled whiskey glass, add homemade lemonade, sloe gin, black cherries, coffee liqueur, dash of bitters, and squid ink. Enjoy with a cigar.